Hi, it's Michael here. There's probably a lot of things that you always wanted to achieve, but somehow it's not really happening. Keep on watching my video and see how you can significantly increase your odds. Okay, writing things down in order to execute them. Well, the bad news is you still have to put a lot of energy into achieving the thing, but we are very good at procrastination. We are very good at making excuses. If you write this down and if you do it properly, the odds are 60% in your favor that you'll actually do this. We think that we can remember all of that in our heads and we feel very confident, especially in the beginning, but well, this is not true. This is not how it works. As you can see, I'm now on the summit of a mountain which I don't dare to pronounce, but yes, I put a lot of energy into getting here, and you can see my reward is the beautiful view which is behind me. Mountains, sea, it's fantastic. The good thing is also that you can have a very simple system when it comes to actually writing down your goals. If you have some dreams, a lot of people name it bucket list. Yes, have this list. I actually have it in a regular book and I'm writing it down by hand. This is something that I come back to every now and then to remind myself, okay, which way I should go, because there are still things that I would like to do in my life. When it comes to goals which are in between, they are neither a long time nor short time. For these things, it's a good idea that you have between 1 or 3 of them and you try to more or less plan them a quarter at a time. So for example, right now my focus is learning Spanish, doing some heavy software development, and that's it. This is what I have for this quarter and I'm not taking anything more. When it comes to short-term goals, here you can actually use a lot more things because you can actually use Kanbans that will help you enormously to manage your day at work, to manage your private life, and a couple of other things. Kanbans are my preferred way to work. It doesn't mean you have to do this. If you're a list person, no problem. I have seen people that work according to lists and they are actually very good at this. The good thing is you just have to find, as I said before, your way of working with the things. There is also one more other thing that I'd like to mention. I said that the odds become 62% in your favor if you write something down. Yes, because you will have some form of accountability. That means there will be some piece of paper that you will actually have to take a look at. There is one bonus here. If you actually do a list like that for your meetings, and for example, we have a weekly meeting in our company and we have goals for every week and we start every Monday. We have 10 minutes where we just review these goals. We write down what kind of stuff we have finished, what kind of stuff we still have to work on. And this way, our meetings are actually very productive. And if somebody's stuck with something, they can get help. So, to finish it off, there is something positive. Just because you started, that means pretty much 50% of the job has been done. So it's very important not to procrastinate, just get on and do this. There's one more point here. Writing down your goals in order to execute them, that's one thing, but you can also share it. Share it with people that you know that will most likely support you in what you are doing. This is exactly what I did. I shared my feared video idea with people that I knew will support me, and finally, they actually pushed me to make the final step. The same thing I made here with actually filming. I shared it with my partner and she actually supports me in that. Even though at this point she doesn't have to remind me about it, she is. And this is actually really good. Supportive friends, supportive people around you when you try to execute something, they are very important because we are full of doubt. And these people, they will help you to overcome this and actually make the step. And it's very important. Okay, we are getting to the last part in writing the obvious things down. What I could tell you also now is what is the watermelon effect, how to avoid it, and how it can induce actually stress. So the last bit is about writing things down that actually require additional variable to fire so that we get actually notified. These are all kinds of monitoring systems, booking systems, where you set up something, so you write it down, you write down some rules and conditions, and then some other people trigger them. So this is a very smart asynchronous way of getting notified about stuff. These are also, unfortunately, the notifications that we get on our phones. And obviously, probably, yes, if you have notifications enabled on your phone, you might or might not feel, or you try to ignore it. Those notifications, they are actually interrupting you a lot throughout the day. I switched them off. The research says if you switch them off, there is a risk that in the beginning you will probably check your phone more often. But here what I did is actually I made a list and I wrote to myself that, okay, I check my phone at 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock, after lunch, then in the afternoon, and once in the evening. And I did this in a period of 3 weeks, and believe me, that actually made wonders. At this point, I'm actually using my telephone only when I need it. The other thing that I did, because I still needed to be notified about some of the important events, I have my little watch, which I mentioned before. My little watch is configured to actually, yes, make a vibration when there comes an SMS. And I have a deal with all the people I work with. If there is something important, try to call me, because then it will also buzz. If they cannot reach me, send an SMS, because then it will buzz, and as soon as I get back to the coverage, I can read what is going on. So this is actually a very important part, that we do use those asynchronous systems because they enable us to save a lot of time. But also remember, try not to make too many of those, because watermelon effect. If you have too many of those, imagine that you have a dashboard where you have control LEDs for multiple systems. If they all become red, if all the LEDs, they become red, you get used to them and they look like a watermelon. So then you no longer react on alarms, so you can actually potentially miss a very important information or miss a very important event. So keep the balance, start from the scratch, and you'll eventually get there. And believe me, at some point, you'll be so happy to just switch those notifications off. Okay, let's summarize this episode. Basically, it was all about writing the obvious things down. And it sounds so obvious. The question is, why do we ignore it? Well, we ignore it because we feel in control. But believe me, this feeling, it's only temporary. As soon as things go a little bit downhill, you will lose the control, and then, yes, you will be blind again. I made a spin-off of the first part of the episode where I actually said, well, keep a log also of all the good things that happened. And this is true, because when there come darker times, you open it up and you will actually see that, hey, there's still a lot of good things happening. The other thing is, because it's so easy and because it's so obvious, we tend to overestimate the idea, use the right tool for the job. And then very often we do actually the opposite. We pick up anything random that works just for a short time, and in the long run, we're actually losing time. So yes, you have to still put a little bit of work into it, but believe me, it's really worth it. And remember, in the first part of the episode, I said that all the methods, all the research, all the ideas, whoa, it got a little bit windy here. All these things, they are very important and you have to know them. But remember, these rules, they are general. They might need a little bit of adaptation. And if you do this, and I tried my best to show you how I adopted some of these rules to work in my favor, then believe me, things are gonna go much better. Because what it worked for me, my day is much more effective. I've never pulled so much code in my life as I'm doing in the past 2 years. And actually, I recover much quicker from the darker periods, because believe me, yes, they happen. We are still in doubt. It's normal. We just don't like to talk about it. So I wish you luck, and please do comment, because I received a lot of comments after the first episode. I tried to improve, and I hope you can see that. But please comment, because I'm actually really reading and appreciate all your comments and private messages. Thank you, and see you in the next episode.